presentation. The time starts now.
The Executive Governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma, Honorable Minister, our very revered Chairman of our group, IEDI, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, it is indeed a pleasure for me to share my thoughts on some of the issues that are brought in today, particularly on the SME sector. What I can say is that today, that we are in a situation where the whole world is facing a crisis. The whole world is facing a crisis. And it is such a situation that the world economy has been disequilibrated. It has lost its balance, and global recession is looking at us. At times like this, you know, two things happen, and they happen very quickly. Revenues fall and cash flows disappear. And this happens for all entities, big and small. Households and small and micro enterprises lose their livelihoods, and some actually die. And when that happens, jobs are lost. But timely public policy and private response, like what we have today, will actually help to kick in. And when it does kick in, then there will be hope. So it is a pleasure to see that we are discussing on how to kick in something that will improve the present situation. Development banks, that is banks like Bank of Industry, the Central Bank, and Bank of Agriculture, they are expected to kick in to support. And all over the world, they have begun to kick in. So they go where private funds and financiers do not go. And so what we need to do immediately is to ensure that two critical things happen. That is to say, we return our businesses into productivity, okay? That is business continuity. A lot of businesses have been destabilized. They've lost their capital. Some have lost their staff. They need to be brought back to the path of continuity. That requires financing and help them to manage disaster. And then we also need to restore cash flows. Cash flows are central to economic development. The cash flows are the things that make people spend money. If people don't spend money in the economy, there is no GDP. And today, all over the world, it is recognized that the small and medium enterprises hold over 2/3 of the jobs in the world. And as a matter of fact, contribute up half the GDP of the rest of the world. And that is not different from our own state, Imo. We are also supposed to be part of a global economy, and that is where it is important that we participate in what is happening. So we need to go, just a second, we need to go peacefully and prosper in the sense that we need to support our small and medium enterprises. Imo State economy is a micro enterprise economy, okay? And by definition, I'm talking about companies that employ less than 10 staff and have like about, 5 million of assets, okay? As a matter of fact, that's the dominant nature of the Nigerian economy. In the whole of the 41 and more enterprises in Nigeria, about 99% of them are micro enterprises. So the economy depends on small people, okay? But they have a disability. These are people that have no bankable assets. Even when they have assets, they don't have right titles to them. Okay, there's no legal framework to operate. It's simply a hand-to-mouth economy. So when things like this happen, as we experienced during the Ebola crisis, we found that it is the MSMEs that suffer most. They lose their capital, they lose their cash flows, and reviving them is therefore essentially critical. How do we do it? We do this by putting money back into the hands of the small people. When I mean small people, I mean people that run businesses within 5 million, within 10 million, as classified as small enterprises. And that's the nature of the Nigerian economy, which is basically informal. Our people are working in the villages, they have no facilities. This is the time individuals and governments that mean well will come to do, okay? And it should be by a deliberate public policy. Government may not have all the funds, and that is why people like our group has come together to support government. And I'm very glad His Excellency mentioned small and medium enterprises when he spoke. So it is important that we understand what is happening in public banks, like Bank of Industry, Central Bank, what they are doing. They are doing a lot already. There are some facilities that it is of my interest today to find out and ask if IMO people are really participating. For instance, there is the MSME, which is a 220 billion fund, which includes grants and capacity building monies that will be given through participating banks at very low interest. There is SMEs, which is a fund that has been created by the Bankers Committee in order to support business people that are interested in having equity to increase their capital and raise their funds. Just as it is, also we have Young Entrepreneur Development Fund. This is to support startup businesses by young people, okay? Young people who are particularly in the agricultural value chain and such areas. The question to ask is, are our people participating? When COVID happened, the government, through the central bank, launched a fund we call the COVID Fund, 50 billion. That fund actually has been disbursed up to 49 billion. It is important to ask how many people from Imo State that are into MSMEs are participating. There is also a refinancing and rediscounting facility, which the government has introduced in order to help small and medium enterprises to deal with their bank loans. Because when a disaster like this happens, the first thing that crystallizes is your debt, and you have no cash flow to pay. There is a guaranteed offtake scheme, which the federal government uses to buy up products from agricultural production or whatever the people produce locally. These funds are there, and they will not walk up to your kitchen to meet you. You will need to have people to talk to you. If you do not understand, you may need consultants to guide you. Survival fund also exists, which the federal government is using its opportunities to introduce to individual companies that have a way to show that they were affected by COVID. What that fund does is to help you to take part of your salaries and wages. So it is alive, it is available, and it is being operated. Then there's the big one, the Anchor Borrowers Scheme, okay, which is part of the MSME fund. I have over 43 billion of it has already been disbursed, okay? Over 43 billion of it has already been disbursed as at March. And it is important to ask how many of our people are participating in this, okay? It is important to note that these funds are spread through participating banks. And who are the participating banks? They are the deposit money banks, that's the regular banks. They are the development banks like Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, and more particularly, the microfinance banks. The microfinance banks are very critical in the development of Nigeria. I had the privilege of, when I was advising in the Ministry of Finance, when we created the microfinance system that eventually metamorphosed through community banks. So we need to have our own microfinance bank. I think the Imo State has a microfinance institution because actually, no matter how the big banks try, they can never help small people. It is not in their DNA. I was a banker for 25 years and I did my time fully. But we may like small businesses, but definitely we cannot help them. So the microfinance institution that is properly organized, structured, and run will help the state. Because not only do they do that, they help them to organize, okay? They help them to establish their processes, and they help them to acquire capacity, because that's the role of microfinance institutions. So we need to revamp, grow, develop such facilities if we need to get to our people. Businesses must register if you want to participate in these opportunities that exist. You do not carry on a business that is not registered. I know not all businesses can be registered, like the very little women selling things in the market, selling vegetables. Those are the people the microfinance institutions should parent, like parenting, acting like a mother or a father to help them. But other institutions need to register, because if you register, you will be able to qualify to participate. They will ask you for your BVN number, because now there is financial inclusion that is critical. They can also ask you for tax identification number. If you don't have these things, it will be difficult for you to participate. I'd like to remind our people there's something called collateral registry now. It is no longer an excuse that you don't have collateral to borrow money. No, there is what we call collateral registry, which allows small people, permit me to use that word, small business people, to use their assets, which we call chattels, okay? Their air conditioning, their tables, their things that are in the room, to register to borrow money. And this is very clear. And microfinance institutions are encouraged to do it. At least we can do it starting with the people of our state. The time when microfinance institutions go about lending money to big businesses is gone. It will not help any state. So we need to find out how can our people benefit from the collateral registry and the microfinance institution. It is critical. The bank can fill the streets of Owerri. You even have where you call Bank Street or Bank Avenue. Those banks are therefore at best medium enterprises, okay? Because when we were in banking, when small businesses come, of course, there are certain things we ask them. Do you have your feasibility report? Oh yes, they say we know it. We've been doing it. The banker will laugh. They have things that require you to document, which is not the natural way that small and medium enterprises go. So it behooves us as a state to help organize our people and reduce poverty and create more jobs, okay? So strategy for creating jobs, okay? Of course, it will be financial and also infrastructure related, all right? I want to say that governments do not create jobs. Anybody challenging government to go and create jobs, that is a misnomer, it's an anomaly. What governments do is to prepare the environment and make it conducive for investment capital to come. So you can call that job creation, but provided you understand that it is not about government setting up a shop. Government can set up shop, can set up airlines, but the creation of the job in the quantum that is important is created by enabling environment. Once that happens, it will be okay. By 2035, Africa is projected to have the largest labor force in the world. Now technology is accelerating change and things are happening left, right, and center. Many jobs, as Brother Leo Stan mentioned, are going to go away. They are going to go digital. How are we preparing? So the way of work of tomorrow is going to change. Are our people changing? We cannot sit down and blame our people. We need to guide them. And I'm excited at the ideas that Chief Leo Stan has mentioned. These are things the private sector can key into in order to grow the state, because it's our state. There's no running away from it. So what kind of capacity are we building? And it also came out in the comments of Chief Leo Stan talking about a finishing school. We need to have standard. Hotel is everywhere in Owerri, but which one of them is really a hotel? You get into a hotel, you call for a hangar. Meanwhile, the room was clean for you to enter. Then you look at the towel, there's no floor towel. Meanwhile, there's supposed to be one. Because there is no standard. I think Imo State, with all the myriads of hotels in Owerri, we can set the standard for hotel management. We create an institution, put our children there, train them, develop them. Other people will come and hire them. You can't be sitting at the foot and guessing at the car. We can get these things done. They are doable. And I am very, very excited. Even our artisans, for those of you who have been building properties, okay, whether it's in Lagos or in the East, you import Cotonou people. You take Cotonou people to come to work, to come and do your POP. I have personal experiences that are very dastardly, and they are not for this. But the point to do is that we need to get our people working. You get a plumber who doesn't know how the water runs. But he's a plumber. He finishes, you go to bathroom, water doesn't come out. It's not their fault. We need to set standards and help them to grow in those areas. So the hospitality hub that God has given to us, we can convert it to a growth sector in Imo State. And it won't happen if we don't set standards. It won't happen when people come into a hotel, it's smelling, it's not clean, and stuff like that. So further on jobs, I want to list some areas that are possible, but people can quickly key into and create jobs for people. There are call centers, or what they call customer service centers. This is in high demand. We have, garment industries that we can create. Our people are already tell us, okay, whether they are in Aba, in Abia State, so we can harvest them, put them together, give them further training, give them further equipment, and begin to make clothes. Sooner or later, people won't be able to afford clothes coming from Thailand and China. Let us begin now to fit into those positions. And I believe the executive governor, from his comments, he is going to lead us, and we're going to support him every way to get to this. Look at something, coding centers, which Chief Leo Stan is a master in those areas. These are gaping opportunities that can be developed if our people begin to feel the responsibility of helping their state. individual success. Most of you are very successful. But where are you going to go with it? If everybody, in fact, the COVID has given you an example. Some people have spent all their money buying rice for their maternal homes and their villages. Even small people are buying rice because the people are not on good foundation. So we need to create things, okay? Security is okay. I mentioned hospitality, okay? And in order to close, I want to say that these are things that take time. They require environment from government. They require support. Government does not necessarily have to shell out all the money. What entrepreneurs require is good, conscience from government, good encouragement, okay, and able to listen to them and share opportunities. And I have no doubt whatsoever that Senator Hope Uzodinma, whom I know very well, is ready to lead Imo State to a change. And on that basis, ladies and gentlemen, shall I ask you to begin to clap?